pre-weekend, we bring to you some special guests. You've seen before this episode, 2 episodes, and tonight we have the 3rd episode right here this evening, coming live to you from the studios of Masti Media Network. I'm your host for the evening. My name is Mehak, and today's show is very, very special because this show does not have just one guest, but we have 2 very unique guests this evening. Why are they unique? I'm going to tell you just in a while, but before that, I am going to show you the highlights of the previous shows of Montage of Singapore. Hello and welcome. Charismatic and a leader who's dynamic. Welcome, Birain. It is such a pleasure, really.
And then it moves on to the neighborhood where we play games together. You know, during rainy days, we used to make boats and put them in the longkang, as they call it. So the assimilation into the community, into the country, is a lot better over a number of years. But as long as the acceptance is there, I think that's how it starts. It's a gradual process. But if you don't say hello, it's not going to work. The efficiency of the country is beyond par.
Do you have a favorite word or a phrase in Singlish or any other language or dialect spoken in Singapore?
Ayo. That's a tough one. Yes. Ayo, wow. You look nice.
And ayah, what have you done now?
Ayo and ayah. You see, the bodily gratifications you can get anywhere else. But heart contentment is where your home is. It has taken me 32 years to understand the meaning of seva and what a community is. And now, for the next 32 years, I'll attempt to serve those I love to the best of my ability.
From the sets of Montage of Singapore, Renuka saying goodbye. And that's all. Well, what a wonderful highlight video that was. So you know what to expect from this show, but we try to bring a new flavor each time that we bring Montage of Singapore to you. And this evening also, we're not going to disappoint the audience. At Masti Media Network, we got in touch with this very special couple who's been together for almost 30 years, 3 decades, and they do not come from the same background. Both of them are from very different cultural background. And that is what we celebrate right here in this show. So let's have them in the spotlight. Here we have our very special guests, Cheryl and Chris. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Hi, Mike.
Hi. So I'm not going to introduce you. I am going to let Cheryl introduce the 2 of you or herself first. How about that?
Yeah, hi. My name is Cheryl. I'm a true blue Singaporean girl, born and bred here in Singapore to traditional parents who only spoke Chinese and Cantonese. Yeah. And after I left uni, I went to join a international bank. And I met Chris, who after 1.5 years of courtship, convinced me that we are soulmates and we should be together for life. So,
oh my God.
Yeah. But the interesting thing was that within the 1.5 years, 1 whole year, we communicated via snail mail and IDD calls.
So no WhatsApp, no instant gratification, I'm sure.
No, back in those days, telephone calls were expensive. So
and let me tell you, that's why you sustained.
That's right.
Could be.
And how about you, Chris?
Hi, Mehak. My name's Christopher Franz. I'll tell you why I'm saying that later. But my friends call me Chris. I was actually born in Bengaluru.
What are you saying?
Yeah, I was.
Oh my God, you were born in Bangalore.
I was, to an all-Indian family. Both my mum and dad were Indian. I was about 2 years old when I moved to Australia, which is why I speak the way I do. I was raised there, I went to school there, and then from the time I started working, I managed to travel, and I spent some time in Hong Kong, which actually ended up helping with integrating into Cheryl's family, you know, learning about the cultures, because they're Cantonese dialect. And after spending about 5 years in Hong Kong, I came to Singapore, and I stayed. I've been here for 30 plus years.
Yeah.
How wonderful is that? So if I had to ask you, what is your Singapore story? Or, you know, What made you decide that you should marry, and how did you manage? Because you are a true blue Singaporean, as you said. Your parents did not speak English. He doesn't speak your language. So tell us a little more about all that.
I think what's important here is that we need to understand each other very well and laugh at each other, and be open-minded, celebrate the differences. Yeah.
For me, integrating into Cheryl's family was a little easier because Cheryl and I, her brother and sister, and her parents basically stayed together from the time that we got engaged. And so when you stay together, you learn people's ins and outs, you learn their likes and dislikes, you learn their routines. And so there's a certain understanding, a non-verbal understanding, and so that helped quite a lot. My biggest challenge really was language. I'm not very good at speaking languages. Even my English is not that great.
Well, I would like to disagree.
But you get by if you understand people. We spoke a little bit of Cantonese phrases, a little bit of English. And as my kids, we have 3 kids, as they grew up and went through the local school process because they were born in Singapore, they became my homegrown translators, and that helped quite a lot as well.
Actually, for me, I would like to add that the difficulty initially was to the norms are different, right? So being Angmo, so to speak. So my friends and I weren't used to the fact that we hug each other as a greeting, or we kiss on the cheek, then they will just shrink away what I'm trying to do, But soon enough, they know him, they meet some of our friends, and that this is normal for them, it's a greeting.
Well, when I came here 30 years ago, Singapore's a very different place. So 30 years ago...
So how was it different when you say that? It was very different at that time.
I think at that stage, Singapore was really developing very quickly. But we were a mixed marriage, an interracial couple, so we did get the looks, etc., because we were something new.
Really?
Whereas now, Singapore in a globalized world, we're not unusual. You walk down the streets, our neighbours are from
Acceptance
Canada.
is much higher.
Exactly. Our neighbours are from Canada, married to a Singaporean, from Australia, married to a Singaporean. We have Malaysians to the right of us. So there's a lot more mixed marriages. And so it's a lot more...
more accepted
normal.
in the society.
Accepted, exactly.
Yeah,
And I think
so
that's been one of the strengths of Singapore as well.
And I think a strength for you as well, because 30 years back when you said that, it was not as easily or readily accepted by society or people here. Things would have been a little tough. How was your integration into his part of the world? I'm sure that, he shared his story, but how about you?
Yeah, when we were together, I mean, it's really very useful, very helpful to introduce us to each other's families. So when we are together, even before marriage or after initial few years of marriage, he will go to Australia and see his parents and sisters, nephew and nieces, etc. Twice a year. So as our babies are growing up, they met the grandparents,
How nice.
So we know each other, our idiosyncrasies, our, what the way we do things. Yeah.
So basically the crazy you gets accepted into the crazy family and that helps. We are all crazy in one way or the other. However, there are some joys of it as well that we will talk about right here, which is our next segment, very aptly called Joy of Singapore. To Montage of Singapore. I'm your host for the evening. My name is Mehak. I have 2 very special guests here, Chris and Cheryl, who are from very different worlds but have been a part of each other's world for the past 3 decades now, and we are talking to them and trying to understand how they made it, what is their Singapore story, what is their integration story, how did they come together. And in this special segment called Joy of Singapore, I'm going to ask each one of you one question, and then you will have to answer that question for me. Okay, so you ready? Okay, let me ask the first question, and that goes to Cheryl. Do you have like a favorite thing or a place to hang out here in Singapore that you like to go to together?
Well, when we were growing up, we like to frequent night spots, for drink with friends and relaxing. But as we grow older, we prefer to hang out at food places we like to explore as a family new eateries, especially in the east. There's so many eateries along Chujet, Upper East Coast, even Tampines, etc.
I love the East.
Oh, we love the east. A lot of cafes and bakeries that has come up.
Interesting. And how about you? We've already spoken about the Singlish and the phrases. So anything else that you want to mention, maybe that you missed out on the earlier part? Maybe your favorite words that your wife uses when she's angry.
I don't think I can repeat them here on a live feed. Some of them I understand and some of them I don't. I think I just enjoy hearing Singlish when my kids talk about it. As I said, I don't use it very much because they cringe. Your kids are the biggest critics.
Yeah.
But yeah, my Singlish isn't that great. But I do love the language. I do love it and the way it.
So, what language do you guys use when you fight?
When we fight?
English.
I use English, and then when she doesn't want me to understand, she uses either Cantonese or Mandarin.
And when our kids are involved, I will talk to my daughter things about the father in French or Cantonese because she learned French as well, and I know a bit of French.
Oh, my God.
Or Cantonese because she knows Cantonese because my mom brought her up. Yeah.
So there is a little bit of...
talking about bad things about me, right?
So the moment they go into that mode, I know it's about me, so I just stay away.
Well, so you have that little group going against,
Daddy,
a person
yeah.
who doesn't want to learn other languages.
That's right.
That's why in Singapore we say must learn one more language. So it's time now, Chris.
Yeah. I tried at one stage. I got out the book. Cheryl was with me. I got to the honey pinyin, and I said, "Biao, biao, biao, biao," and then she laughed, fell off the chair,
fell off the bed.
and so I thought, okay, that's it, I'm done.
Yeah,
She
I
can't
would
do
say
it.
that's it too.
It was pretty embarrassing.
And one question that we have to ask, everybody who comes on this show. So I'm going to ask that question to you, Cheryl. So if ever, I'm sure that, you may not want to leave Singapore ever, but if ever you left Singapore, what would you miss the most and what would you miss the least?
What I will miss the most is very easy. It's the food. Oh, I love the local food, the chee cheong fan, the roti prata, the mee rebus, the mee goreng, everything about Singapore, all the various cultural, the food is I will miss it tremendously. I mean, I know you can find such food in other countries, but it's just not the same.
Correct.
It's not cooked
That
the same
is
way,
so.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
There's
Yeah.
a huge Asian population in Melbourne. Melbourne's very multicultural as well, but the food just doesn't taste the same.
Like Chinese food in Melbourne, right?
It just
It
doesn't
looks the
taste the
same,
same.
but it's somehow sweeter. Just
Yeah,
don't
because
have
these
this
guys are
umami,
known for-
Sugar.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything's got sugar
Maybe
in
they
it.
don't, take so much of spice as well.
Yeah,
So
that's
perhaps,
right, that's right.
that's-
Indian food is great, but the Chinese food, nah.
Yeah.
But here in Singapore, we get to eat like almost
Everything.
everything. The moment
Correct.
I go out of Singapore, within like 4 or 5 days, after 1 week maximum,
same.
I really want to have like my chicken rice or maybe, go and have some of the other Chinese wok fry and stuff.
The
I'm like,
noodles.
the noodles. I'm like, I cannot do without that at all.
Yeah.
And you cannot get a $5 or $6 meal in Australia.
Yeah.
That is so true. So the hawker center food here, which is so
fantastic.
amazing, I don't think that we can get that quality, that taste anywhere else in the
No,
world.
it's
I
brilliant.
agree.
Absolutely brilliant.
Totally.
And what I will not miss about living Singapore is the queuing. The queue for everything, queue for food in hawker centers. I know some of them are Michelin stars, especially those Michelin stars one. Long queue. If you queue for fried chicken, if you queue for bubble tea, if you queue for everything.
And freebies, never
Yeah,
to forget
freebies.
that. My
McDonald's
God.
freebies.
Oh yeah, so many other. So the other day I went to this mall and we had just one pair of earphones somewhere.
Yeah.
And I went there and there were other people also who had won something. And there was this more than 1 or 2 kilometers long, snake queue there. And I'm like, oh my God.
I did a social experiment once. I went with some friends and we started queuing and see who will form a queue behind us. Sure enough, they come and ask us, queue behind us, and they ask us, what are you queuing for? They're trying to queue without knowing.
Yeah, should I do
Just in
that
case.
too?
Yeah.
That is so Singapore, and such a joy, I would say.
But
And
at least you get freebies in Singapore. In Australia, you get nada.
well, and we've got something very special for our audience right here. Because as you know that we also have a section where we talk about the trivia, the actual Singapore. So we will have a little quiz for you as well. So stay right here.
Make sure you add Masti to your lives. Download the app today and stay energized and connected on the go. Radio Masti 24/7 Live, Singapore's only Bollywood radio since 2009. Oh yeah.
Welcome back to Montage of Singapore. A very warm welcome to you one more time. And as I said that I have something very special for the audience right here. You know, in this section, we ask you a question, and in that question, we ask something about Singapore. You have to guess the correct answer. You have to answer it. And the trick is that you have to answer every question that we ask you in each of the episodes of Montage of Singapore. That comes to you live on our Masti Media Network's Masti AVI. You can watch it on your Instagram, or you can watch it on our app, Masti AVI, and answer each time. Make sure you do that. And if you do that and you correctly answer, there would be a chance that you'll get to be on this show, sitting next to us, and we will be asking all these questions to you. But this question is for the audience, which will flash on your screens right now. Walking around the food stalls at the hawker centre with my Australian friend, we keep hearing people saying the food is so shook. My friend asked me what that meant. I replied, it means option A, small in portion, option B, awful, option C, good and delicious, and option D, it's satisfying. So, what is your answer? You can answer right here on the screen and participate, and we will see if you've given the correct answer to all the questions that we ask you. And then if you have, you might just get a chance to be on this beautiful show with us called Montage of Singapore, brought to you by Masti Media Network, supported by National Integration Council. Well, now we come to a section which is very special. Here we talk about community champions. But here we'll not talk about the community champion. I'll tell you what we will do after this very short break. All right, welcome back to this very special segment here on the show where we talk about community champions. These guys are champions in themselves as a couple. They have really championed how to be together from two very different cultures and parts of the world. I am going to ask you this very simple question. I'm not going to ask you for anything else. But then with your extended families, which side you would say is easier? This side or this side?
We're both going to be a little biased, I think. Sharon, you want to go first?
I think my side would be easier.
See, I told you.
Because my parents are very accepting, and although they don't speak English, when I first told them, Mom and Dad, I'm going to marry Ang Mo, I said, what? I'm not going to, we won't be able to communicate with him, but they're like, it's okay, as long as he's the one for you, go for it. And we lived together with them for so many years, and even my brother and sister are also very supportive of Chris, and yeah, very
That's so sweet.
easygoing.
But what were, like the challenges other than the language? Was it like acceptance was okay beyond a point? You said that, any other?
Cheryl's brother and sister are wonderful human beings. And,
You have to say that as well. Yeah.
Well, they really are. And, I've been honoured to know them and grow up with them. Cheryl's parents are very simple, humble people. And when Cheryl introduced me to them, they accepted, but being traditional, I know that there was some doubt in their minds. But over the years, I kind of grow on people like moss on a tree. So we kind of got to know each other, and that acceptance just grew and grew. But they really accepted me quite amazingly, when Cheryl introduced me and we got engaged. So I've just been very humbled and very honoured to know them. They're a lovely family.
That's so wonderful to know. And at this point, it is time that I'm going to give you something very, very special, which we have brought for you here on the show. And it's a beautiful frame of the Singapore skyline.
That's lovely.
That's
At
lovely.
night. It was clicked in the year 2021. And yeah, you can,
Thank you.
yeah, this is for you to keep. And
Fantastic.
thank you so much for joining us on the show today. It was indeed a pleasure to have the two of you. But before I say thank you, I really would want you to introduce us who is going to be there tomorrow on the show, because you know about it, don't you?
We do, yes. She's an educator, and it's a very, very key role, because I think how to integrate into a society begins at a very young age, and moulding and shaping children's minds with, diversity, with inclusion, with how to move around when you're from various different backgrounds is very, very important. So I think the audience would really enjoy that conversation tomorrow.
Yeah, so we are going to have somebody very special that I will also be introducing to you in a while. But it was indeed a pleasure to see the two of you here on Montage of Singapore this evening. Did you guys enjoy?
Oh yes, thank you so much for having us today. I want to thank Masti Media for having us, and also National Integration Council. I think it's a great effort to celebrate our cultural differences and to build Singapore into a nation whereby we live as one people, accepting each other, no matter where we come from, no matter who we are.
That's
It's just
true.
great.
Yeah, just really,
Yeah.
it's been a great opportunity. We really do value the time you've spent with us, and just to share our story. And I think Singapore is a fantastic place. It's home. And
Yes.
I think
Home,
what we
yeah.
love about it is the fact that, over the years it's grown so wonderfully well, and it's just accepting of everyone now.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of its strengths as
It's
well.
great.
And you guys have been together for so long. Parting words to the couples who are watching this particular show tonight. I want you to tell me that any special tips you have for people who come from different backgrounds. They are either dating or are married or planning to marry. Any special tips for them?
Yeah, I think 4 key points. 1, be open, celebrate the differences, listen. Communication is key, really. And the third one is very important. Laugh. Laugh at your mistake, laugh at each other, And finally, of course, you must have the support of your families and
Yeah,
loved ones. Yeah.
Oh my God, yeah, I'm sure, yeah.
I mean, from my perspective, just I think the secret is really patience, tolerance, understanding. You are going to have your ups and downs. You are going to have your challenges, but you just have to work through them. And if you love each other, you will work through them.
So you feel that love is enough and that can keep people going. And of course, being
Absolutely.
patient about it, respecting each other's families, traditions,
Families very
and
important.
integrating yourself the way they would want to see you as part of the family.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
do you celebrate Deepavali and
Well,
do you,
everything.
yeah?
Yeah, we celebrate Chinese New Year, we celebrate Deepavali with our Indian friends, and even Hari Raya. And we live so near, and we go to the bazaar and enjoy all the food stalls there. It's wonderful.
Oh my
Yeah.
God! And do you guys cook like everything at home? There's so much I want to know from you, but then so little time. But do you guys like cook all kind of cuisines at home?
Yes, in Italian, Western food, Chinese food, Malay food, nasi lemak, mee goreng, etc. Everything.
So what is your favorite, like one Indian dish that you really, really like to eat?
My favorite is butter chicken.
Oh my God, this thing about
Dips.
butter chicken,
Everybody says butter chicken, don't they? Everybody
It's
says
like
butter
butter
chicken.
chicken, you just can't do without the butter chicken mentioned on the show for sure. How about you?
I like my masala dosa.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I love my masala
Who
dosa.
cooks that?
When I was growing up, it was my mum. Now we just go and buy it.
In Singapore, you can do that,
Exactly.
and nowhere else in the world so easily. But thank you so much, guys. It was really such a pleasure to have you here. Talk about your, differences as well as integration, acceptance by society and family, love for each other, and making it work in the times when instant gratification did not exist. WhatsApp and video calls were not there,
That's right.
and you made it home.
And 30 years next year.
Yeah.
Oh yeah! Congratulations, big
Start planning
congratulations.
for how to
Thank you.
celebrate.
Make sure he gets you a good gift that you
Yes.
want.
Yeah.
All the hints will be dropped.
All right. Thank you so much. And please do watch our other shows.
Will do.
You know, other episodes that will be there on Saturdays and Sundays. Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you. for your time,
you.
Mehak.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Well, that was Chris and Cheryl with us on Montage of Singapore right here on this very special show which has been curated only for the audience who understands the value of unity and diversity. That is exactly how we are here in Singapore. The beautiful cosmopolitan culture that we have, the beautiful people that we have around, the tolerance that we show, the perseverance that we have, and also this excitement that we have when we meet people from different kinds of backgrounds and cultures is very unique to this place called Singapore. And that is why we thought that this will be a great idea to bring a show like this. So tonight was very good, and tomorrow will be more exciting as well in many different ways, because tomorrow the guest who's coming on the show is somebody who shapes the citizens of tomorrow. The people who are going to shape Singapore tomorrow, make it home tomorrow, are very young minds and developed at this age by somebody so able is going to be very special. And that person is going to be on the show. The principal of GIIS Singapore is going to be here as a special guest. Her name is Melissa. She'll be joining us, and we'll be talking about all the wonderful initiatives that they've been taking in Singapore to bring all the cultures and communities together. And on this show only is where you can get to watch all this. So do not forget, spread the word, tell your friends about Montage of Singapore, tell them they can watch it. You can follow us on Instagram. You can watch this show on Masti Media Network's Masti AVI. You can leave your comments, write emails to us, and a lot of other ways that you can actually connect with us. And don't forget, if you have not really sent in your entries for today's questions, do that. And it's time that I take your leave with the promise that I'll see you tomorrow evening at 6. This is Mehak signing off, and do connect with us on Masti Media Network. The show is called Montage of Singapore, brought to you by Masti Media Network, supported by National Integration Council.